I always thought moving into a quiet suburban neighborhood would be the dream. White picket fences, kids on bikes, the smell of someone grilling burgers on a Saturday afternoon. Instead, I ended up living next door to a junkyard that thinks it's people. Okay, not an actual junkyard, but my neighbors are basically running one right out of their driveway. Rusty cars, broken appliances, mystery piles of metal that may or may not be from the 1980s. And the best part? Two of their rotting, unregistered cars were parked right in front of my house, like my curb was some kind of free parking zone for their personal landfill. Now, I let it slide for a while. I'm not the kind of person who goes running to the authorities the second my neighbor sneezes too loud. But after weeks of coming home to the site and smell of their vehicles decaying like roadkill, I finally did what any sane person would do. I reported it. That's right, I made the call. Cue dramatic music. A few weeks later, the cars were gone. And for the first time in months, my curb looked like a curb again, not the set of a post-apocalyptic zombie movie. But here's the thing. Ever since then, my neighbors have decided that I, and I alone, am responsible for every single police visit they get. Doesn't matter what it's for. Could be noise complaints, could be them violating whatever code junkyard people violate daily, could even be the cops looking for someone who actually broke the law. Doesn't matter. In their eyes, if there's a flashing light outside their house, it must be me behind the curtain, clutching my phone like a suburban Batman. The funny part? Last week, while I was gone all day, the cops came again. I wasn't even home. Didn't even know about it until my neighborly junkyard watch group texted me about it later. So imagine my surprise when I came home that night. To signs. Oh yes, big handmade signs plastered across their yard like it was some kind of passive-aggressive art installation. One read, "Be a good neighbor, stay over there." Another in giant bubble letters said, "Twinkle, twinkle, little snitch, quit being such a little bitch." And my personal favorite, "You must be exhausted watching me all the time." I mean, wow, part of me wanted to be offended. Another part of me wanted to clap. Like the creativity, the commitment. She spent hours painting those. Honestly, if she put half that energy into fixing her cars, we wouldn't even be in this mess. But here's the thing. I couldn't even be mad. It actually made her look kind of crazy. I mean, who does that? Who sits in their garage at midnight with a Sharpie and poster board, writing nursery rhymes about their neighbor being a snitch? And let's not forget the placement. These weren't little signs tucked away in the backyard. Oh no, they were right in the front lawn, angled perfectly so that anyone driving by could read them. Every dog walker, every delivery driver, every poor soul trying to sell solar panels door to door. My neighbors weren't just calling me out, they were broadcasting it to the entire zip code. Here's where it gets better. The next morning, I go out to grab my mail and I catch my neighbor out there watering the signs. Yes, watering them, like they were delicate little flowers that needed hydration. She waves at me with this smug smile, as if to say, "You see that? That's for you." And I couldn't help but laugh, because really, what's funnier? Me allegedly calling the cops, or her publicly embarrassing herself with arts and crafts? Now, let me pause and be honest for a second. Part of me does feel honored. I mean, she thought about me enough to create multiple signs, rhyme schemes, and even make them large enough for Google Maps to pick up if the satellites zoomed in far enough. That's dedication. That's hate with effort. And you know what? If I'm living rent-free in her head, maybe I should start charging. But here's the downside. The gossip mill started turning. You know how suburban neighborhoods are. People walk their dogs a little slower in front of your house, squinting at the signs, then whispering about it 3 doors down. Suddenly, I'm the problem. The snitch. The reason the cops are always here. Which is, by the way, hilarious, because let's do the math. I called once. Once. And if the cops are showing up 3, 4, 5 more times, then guess what? That's not me. That's you. I'm good, thanks. So now I'm stuck in this weird suburban standoff. On one side of the street, me, just trying to live my life, mow my lawn, and not trip over rusted car parts. On the other side, the junkyard crew, armed with poster boards and an endless supply of paranoia. And the cherry on top, every time the cops come now, they glare at me. Doesn't matter if I'm literally holding groceries in my arms or walking back from work in business clothes. In their minds, I'm sitting inside with binoculars, whispering, "Officer, it's happening again." You'd think after a while they'd realize I don't have the time or energy to monitor their circus, but no. To them, I'm the villain of this suburban saga. The real question is, what do I do now? Do I ignore the signs and let them keep embarrassing themselves? Do I put up my own sign? Something tasteful like "free scrap metal across the street." Or maybe, "Don't blame me, blame your expired registration." Honestly, the petty part of me wants to outsign them. Like if they want to turn this into a neighborhood art show, I'll bring the spray paint and the glitter. But for now, I've decided on the high road. Let them keep making signs, let them water their poster boards like little plants, because in the end, they're just proving my point. You can take the cars off the curb, but you can't take the junkyard out of the neighbor. And every time I drive past their yard, reading "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Snitch," I can't help but laugh. Because really, if that's the best they've got, then I think I'm winning.